right, everybody. Ready for a deep dive into something really kind of cool?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're talking solar energy, but not just, your average solar setup. This is about making solar shockingly accessible, especially for affordable housing right here in Connecticut. And get this, we're talking completely free solar installations.
Free.
Not free like a trial run, free like zero out-of-pocket costs for property owners, that kind of free.
Okay, now that's intriguing.
Right.
So what makes this program so fascinating is it's not just about adding more solar panels. It's about tackling this very real need for affordable housing. And, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, climate change. This program blends those two huge issues into like a single solution.
Yeah, it's like everyone's buzzing about renewable energy these days.
Yeah.
But there's still these barriers, right? Especially for affordable housing. This program, though, it's called Residential Renewable Energy Solutions. It seems like they're really changing the game.
Yeah. Definitely. And it's important to remember this isn't just about being trendy or whatever. Connecticut has its own renewable energy goals, and this program aligns with those perfectly.
So it's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
For the residents, because ultimately they see the benefit with lower energy costs. But let's talk about the company behind it all, Nexys.
Yeah. Right.
What makes them the go-to for this kind of program?
So what's interesting about Nexys is they're not just installing panels and calling it a day. They handle everything, the whole process. It's called a turnkey solution. Analyzing a property, figuring out the solar potential, installation, even long-term maintenance, it's all them.
Wow. So it's like they take all the guesswork out of it for these property owners.
Exactly. It's all streamlined.
That's pretty great for property owners.
Yeah.
Right? It's like they can just sit back and let Nexys handle everything. So we're just talking about like your typical apartment complexes here, right?
Actually, it's way more than that. We're talking Section 8 housing, properties for the elderly, for people with disabilities, even housing for veterans. It's really something to see them covering such a broad spectrum of affordable housing needs.
So they're not just targeting one specific type of housing. It sounds like they're trying to reach as many people as possible.
Exactly. And that's a key point here because it really highlights their commitment to making this work for everyone. They're making sure the benefits are accessible to everyone who needs them. And that's a big deal in affordable housing.
Okay, so Nexys takes care of everything. Sounds like a pretty sweet deal. But let's break it down. When they say zero cost, what does that actually mean for these property owners?
All right, so this is where it gets interesting. Nexys is basically footing the bill for the whole installation. They take on the financial risk, which is huge. This means no debt for the property owners, no liens on the property, and no power purchase agreements.
No PPAs, right?
Right. Those can be, well, let's just say they're not always the easiest to deal with.
Yeah, definitely complicated.
Exactly. So Nexys takes all of that on themselves.
So property owners are basically getting, zero out-of-pocket expenses.
It's pretty remarkable when you think about it.
It really is, and it seems like it benefits everyone, not just the owners, but the tenants too.
Absolutely. We've talked about the environmental impact, which is important. But we can't forget the financial side of things, especially for people living in affordable housing.
Yeah, energy costs can be a real burden for a lot of people.
Exactly. And that's where these direct bill credits come in. So Nexys sells the energy from the solar panels to the utility company. And then the utility company gives those savings back to the tenants through credits on their bills.
So the tenants are directly seeing the savings from this renewable energy.
Exactly. It's a direct benefit for them.
That's amazing. But how much are we talking about here? What kind of difference does it actually make on their bill?
Tenants could see up to 20% savings on their electricity bills. And this isn't just a one-time thing. These benefits last for 20 years.
20 years. Wow, that's incredible.
It provides real long-term relief.
Okay, so let's say someone's listening to this, a property owner, and they're thinking, sign me up. What's the next step?
Well, Nexys has made the whole process really straightforward. They need some basic info about the property, location, how many units, the type of roof they have, that sort of thing. And they'll look at past electricity bills, too, to see how much energy the property uses.
So they're making sure the property is a good fit for the program.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. So they're like checking to see if the roof gets enough sun, if it's strong enough for the panels.
Yep. And they'll even figure out if they need to include battery backup, which is really important for places that have a lot of power outages. It gives the residents some extra peace of mind.
Wow, so they've really thought of everything.
They have. It's a very thorough process.
So it really seems like Nexys has this whole thing figured out. But you mentioned earlier, this program isn't going to be around forever, right?
Yeah, you've got a good memory. It is a limited time opportunity, which is honestly one of the reasons we wanted to make sure we covered it.
It makes you wonder, why would they put a time limit on something like this, something so beneficial? Is it just a matter of, like, resources or something?
That's a great question. Unfortunately, we don't have access to, the ins and outs of their business plan. Could be a lot of things. Funding cycles, maybe some policy changes coming up, who knows? The important thing is it exists now, right? There's a real opportunity here.
Right, like a get it while it's hot kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. But, just because it's limited doesn't mean it's not a big deal. If anything, it just means people got to act fast if they want to benefit from it.
Makes sense. It really makes you think about, the bigger picture. Could this whole model, this whole thing where a company takes care of everything, zero cost to the owner, could it work elsewhere? In other states? Maybe even for other types of housing, not just affordable.
$1 million question, right? And that's what's so exciting about this program. It makes you think differently. Sure, there'd be challenges, regulations, funding, even just getting the word out. But the potential, it's huge.
Yeah, it feels like it could really change how we think about renewable energy.
Absolutely. It shows that solar isn't just for, the wealthy or whatever. It can be accessible to everyone. It just takes a little creativity.
This has been really eye-opening. I had no idea this program even existed. It's amazing what Nexys is doing, making solar not just accessible, but actually attainable.
Couldn't agree more. It's a great example of how private companies can really make a difference. Hopefully this inspires other programs like it, Proof that sustainability and affordability can go together.
Absolutely. All right, everyone. So that's another deep dive in the books. Hopefully you learned something new today, maybe feel a little more optimistic about the future. Until next time.